It's in your moments of decision that your destiny is absolutely shaped. I heard this quote from Tony Robbins, and we have a tendency to think that it's the big pivotal moments. It's who we decide to marry, if we decide to marry, if we have kids. But in reality, these decisions shape who you are. These decisions are made on a daily basis. These are the most important decisions, not the big ones in life. And today we're going to delve into how these small decisions in your life have brought you to the place where you are today. Looking back at 2020, we're almost at the end of the year. And so we all tend to start looking back at, the year that just passed before the next year comes. We think about the goals that we wanted to accomplish. We think about the things that we didn't do, even though we wanted them, even though we wanted to do. When we're talking about the decisions that actually shape your life, we're not just talking about where you went to school, what was your major. I'm talking about if you had health goals, did you decide to eat a salad instead of a cheeseburger? If you had money goals, did you go and buy that new iPhone rather than putting money into your savings? Did you for fear of missing out of something, did you go hang out with your friends when you knew you should have stayed in that night for whatever reason that was, right? So how many times in our lives do our daily decisions really either lower our standards or they raise our standards? So we decide who it is that we want to be at every moment, and your decisions back that up. If you decide that you want to be someone who has high standards and you're making decisions from from the perspective of someone who doesn't really care, who is not aligned, who doesn't have high standards, well, we're never going to accomplish the dreams that we really want to accomplish. I also want you to think about and analyze, what are the things that you have allowed to persist in your life? Whether that can be circumstances or it can be specific people that haven't been good for you. What are the things that you have decided to just continue to tolerate? Some things that you just didn't set a boundary on, some things that you just didn't speak up on. All of those decisions affect who you are today and where you are in your life in 2020. And today is not about placing blame. It's not about pointing fingers. Today, in this episode, I want to help you do something that I do as a coach at the end of every year. I take a look at what were the things that took place in my life that brought me to the place I am today. And I really analyze that, because all of these small decisions that you've taken every day in your life have absolutely, without a doubt, created the life that you're living today and the life that I'm living today. It's kind of like, having the map before you go on a trip, right? And knowing that you don't want to make the same mistakes that you made before. So if you know that you want to do certain things in life, if you know you want to accomplish certain things, if you know you want to go to a different place than you've ever gone, it's important to know where you've come from so that you don't repeat these things, so history doesn't repeat itself. So in assessing and looking back at your 2020, I want you to think, what are 3 things that you can absolutely be grateful for? I'm a proponent for gratitude, and I think every single thing starts with gratitude. I know some of us have had a very tough year. I know some of us have lost loved ones. I know some of us have lost friends. I just think it's very important to always be able to find the silver lining in what you've gone through. And expounding a little bit on my silver lining, this is 2020. You could always choose to take a different perspective on something. So if I want you guys to find your silver lining, I want to talk about what my silver lining is. So 2020 has definitely been a year that lit a fire under me. And, a lot of you know that in January of 2020, when I'm looking forward to, I'm doing a weight loss challenge, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Well, I, got a call from my gynecologist who said, can you get to the office ASAP? Now, when does that happen? That never happens, because if you have to have an appointment, that you are waiting at least three weeks to a month for that appointment. So when they say come in immediately, that's generally not good news, right? So I knew I had just had a mammogram, I had just had a biopsy. So in January of 2020, I was diagnosed with early stage breast cancer. And as a person who I worry and I have a lot of anxiety, and I've learned how to deal with that, and to distinguish whether this anxiety is warning me of something, is it just me over excessively worrying about something. But I've learned to differentiate and tactics and strategies of how to deal with that. I'm a person that, my mind can just go crazy. I can absolutely think of the worst case scenario. My theater history says I can be the most dramatic person in a moment, and in every moment, and make things so dramatic to where I just can't see light at the end of the tunnel. But because of my coaching, because of the clients that I work with, because of having that fire lit under me, there's nothing like motivation in the form of, you don't know how much more time you have. And so you automatically start thinking, what is all the stuff that I've always wanted to do in my life that I haven't done? My silver lining in 2020 was, I allowed myself to get sad about it, thinking, what if, how much time, all of those things that your mind just naturally does. I talked it over with my spouse, and we talked about, that this really is your silver lining. And in that moment, I knew that breast cancer happened for me. Breast cancer in 2020 helped me to be able to be more decisive, to quit wasting time, to quit putting things off. After I do this, I'm going to do such and such. So now I think about all the lessons that I've learned. I think about, a little bit of the urgency that breast cancer provided me. And so, and taking a look at 2020, I can always come from a victim mentality, but that's never really been my MO. I prefer to be proactive. I prefer to lean into my strength. So my silver lining in 2020 was that breast cancer happened for me. What is your silver lining? And when you're thinking about all of the different things that you went through in 2020, what are some things that you possibly learned from? Maybe it was a terrible outcome, but maybe it's something that you learned that you definitely will not repeat. What are some things that you can absolutely celebrate? Maybe you can celebrate having gotten a raise. We can be grateful that a lot of us still had a job, right? In the time of COVID, and where many businesses are being shut down, many people lost their jobs. We can be really, really thankful for that, right? And so again, coming from a place of gratitude, I want you to look at what you achieved and possibly what you didn't achieve, some actions that you actually took, some actions that you possibly didn't take, how in certain instances could you push yourself a little more, just to get out of your comfort zone. And then the most important part about assessing is thinking about where your thoughts were. It's important to know that most of the time, the things that prevent us from jumping, the things that prevent us from taking action, the things that keep us spiraling and spiraling and spiraling in the same exact place that we were last year, that will be this year, if we don't become aware, is becoming aware of our thinking. Because, our subconscious just wants to keep us protected. It wants to continue down the path of doing the familiar. And so knowing what's happening up here, what are those limiting beliefs? What are those thoughts that make you doubt yourself? What are those thoughts that make you think, if you go out there and you put yourself out there and push yourself in an uncomfortable place? What are the thoughts that made you say, I'm not doing it, I'm staying home, I'm not going to take action, I'm not going to start that business, I'm not going to go to the gym? Whatever that thing is, Our thoughts play such a huge role in whether we take action or not. Now, when we're analyzing these thoughts, a lot of us have a tendency to go, oh, so my life in 2020 wasn't as good as, Stacy's life in 2020. So we have a tendency to compare ourselves to other people. That's, I want you to really think about, that and what that really does to you. We live in a society where everything is about complaining. I mean, I fall victim to that too. I look at all of these coaches who are making, oh, I banked $1 million this year. Well, I didn't bank $1 million, but I'm doing okay, but there is a sense of, well, what am I doing that, or what am I not doing that they're doing? How can I be better? And so we all have a tendency to compare ourselves to other people's level of success. But what I want you to do is think about, what is your definition of success? Just thinking about your life alone, the things that you want in your life. You probably don't even want what Nicole down the street has. You probably don't even want what Kendrick has, right? You just want the life that you want based on who you are and who you dream of becoming. And so once you kind of wrap your brain around, what are the thoughts? What are the actions? What are the things that I did or didn't do? It helps to think about it. But it really helps if you can do like a brain dump, if you can like journal. These are all the things that, kept me from taking action. These are all the things that prevented me from putting myself out there. If you can write these things down and then you go back and you look at it and you analyze all of the things. And sometimes it really is a wake-up call when we see it written down on paper and when we see this was my life in 2020. But you know what? It doesn't have to be my life in 2021. What can I do to stop these things? What can I do to take more action in order to not repeat what I did in 2019 and 2020, bringing that into 2021? How can you become so aware of the habits that have gotten you where you are, the habits that you want to nip in the bud? How can you become so aware of your life to where you don't want to repeat those things? Even if you achieved a high level of success, you just want to stay there, keep repeating those same things? No. So it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. You always want to be evolving and growing and improving. You always want to be getting better because that's what life is about. It's like flowers outside, right? If they're not growing, they're dying. And so how can you be growing every single day in 2021? So today's episode was really just about assessing where you are, looking back at your 2020 and trying to heighten your level of awareness as to what are the things that you did, that you tolerated, that you kept in your life, that you kept repeating, that has brought you to where you are today. So the purpose is to learn from it. It's to make some changes. It's to make different decisions. The purpose is to not stay in this exact same place. The purpose is at every moment, again, our destiny is shaped from the decisions that we make. We can always choose to make different decisions, but we have to be aware of the decisions that we're making now in order to make different decisions, and actually why we make those decisions. So becoming aware and looking at your 2020 is so pivotal if we're going to start looking at 2021 and looking at all the things we can accomplish. So 2 weeks from now, I am going to dive in. Actually, because my episodes come out on Thursdays, I'm going to dive into how you now take this information of being so aware. What are we going to do with it? How are we going to move into 2021 and actually apply this knowledge and get the things that we want? Guys, I hope this information is useful to you. It is my honor to share these things with you. I feel like 100% it's my life calling. And I want you to find value in it, and if you're finding value in it, please do me a favor and subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Shoot me an email at Travia Steward coach@gmail.com and let me know if there's other things that you want to hear more of. Let me know if I can dive deeper into something. I believe that my life, that I was put on this earth to serve, to help others. It's my mission in life to impact 1,000 people. So let me know how I can help you create the life that you want to. How can I help you eliminate some of those things that's preventing you from getting the things that you want? So subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you guys take care. Peace. Thank you so much for listening. If you even want to know more about what I'm up to, head over to traviasteward.com. And if you like seeing the videos of the podcast, every episode is on my YouTube channel. Take care, guys.